Dr. Grant Anderson, you have been the attending physician at one of the big nursing homes in town, maybe more than one, I don't know, for over 20 years. And I'll bet in that period of time you've seen thousands of patients with established Alzheimer's, dementia. And I know, in fact, that the calm guy that you are, you've stormed into the administration and you've told them they need to be feeding people different types of foods. I know that. And you actually want coconut oil available to some of the people, too. So tell us about, give us your overview of Alzheimer's.
I've actually probably been working in the nursing home and a private practice for about 35 years, so a fair amount of time. And I always say that I see the end results of people's poor lifestyle choices, poor treatment of disease, dietary issues and everything, that including heart failure, kidney failure, dementia, Alzheimer's dementia, vascular dementia, just peripheral vascular disease, all these things. Polypharmacy is huge in the nursing home as a cause of dementia. And why do you think people have polypharmacy? They have congestive heart failure, they have renal failure, they have peripheral vascular disease. You end up chasing about 30 different diseases with medications. I've seen some people that have been on over 30 medications with 30 or 40 diagnoses, depends on how aggressive the hospitalist wants to dictate. There's actually one person in town who's just really good at putting in lots of diagnoses. We also, when the people are in the nursing home, we have a lot of issues with agitation and behavioral issues. And the bottom line about treatment of those are that none of the medications work very well to treat agitation. You can give them big doses of medications that'll knock them out, but a lot of the medications that are supposed to prevent this really don't do too much. So I think we're really missing something. I got interested in insulin resistance and low carbohydrate diets, and if you walk in the nursing home, like I walked into one patient today who's obese, has at least elevated blood sugar, not diabetes, but there's her breakfast in front of her, some bananas over the top of 3 pancakes slathered in syrup with a nice bottle of juice right there, and that's what she's eating for breakfast. Lunch is going to be something with a lot of carbohydrates, and this is despite having elevated blood sugar and having lots of problems. So to me, insulin resistance and ties in with the behavioral issues and ties in with a lot of the dementia issues in the nursing home. The problem is getting somebody to change anything because of money issues and because of that's the way we do it. I've talked to dietitians and they're interested in what goes on, but you talk to administration and they're not real excited about making any changes because it's just simply going to cost more money. And also the people want to eat what they can taste that tastes good, and they're used to carbohydrates for years, and those pancakes with syrup really taste good when your taste buds really aren't tasting a whole lot of stuff. So I saw the information about coconut oil recently, and I've actually recommended it for a relative and found benefit as far as taking coconut oil to help with symptoms of Alzheimer's dementia. So my most recent plan is to try to at least take one wing of the nursing home and just start with the permission of the family or whoever, and to just start supplementing with 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and maybe try to do some non-standardized, not very scientific study just to get an idea, is this possible and will it make any difference? And then I would really like to see the carbohydrate usage drop off considerably. I think it would be real nice if we didn't have to see as many of these problems because of insulin resistance, and I would hope that if we're treating this better with appropriate medications, that it indeed will hopefully see less of these problems. I mean, University of Chicago, 1978, they were saying that Alzheimer's dementia is going to bankrupt the country. And that was before osteoporosis and before HIV. And it's interesting that we really see it now, because there's such a huge, huge crisis in who's going to take care of people who are unable to take care of themselves. So it'll be real interesting to see what pans out with coconut oil, or I presume a lot of related products.
Do any of the panelists have any idea how coconut oil works?
Is it through the ketones?
That's what
the question.
I have heard, and inducing a ketosis and acting like a low carbohydrate diet, or in
With pancakes, this works?
no.
MCTs get metabolized preferentially and can produce ketone bodies at pretty high carbohydrate intake.
Even with
Wow.
that kind of, that's...
Yeah.
So they don't have to give up
MCT is
the
being
The problem is it's
medium
transient,
chain
and
triglycerides.
I've always wanted to speak with Mary about this, because, as Rob said, even in the presence of high dose of glucose, you can still take a pure MCT, and coconut oil is 60% MCT, palm is about the same.
Okay, MCT is medium chain triglycerides.
So this is a fully saturated carbon that's 6 to 12, 6 to 14 in lengths, which just means we don't have the enzymatic ability to store it. We have two choices. We either immediately mobilize it and through a ketonic pathway, or we just put it into our GI tract and it comes out. So the question, though, becomes, is it the MCT oil, is it the production of a ketone body that's protective, right? Because a neuron can consume a ketone body and glucose. Is there something else going on? And the part that's really amazed me is the anecdotal case reports of people who consume a normal carbohydrate diet, but apparently plus an MCT oil, and report a positive result. Because that, to me, seems, I've documented this just in myself, totally anecdotal. How long do I experience the ketone spike from an MCT? And even in the absence of carbohydrate, it's not that long. It's several hours. So pretty interesting.
There is one clinical trial out of the University of Cincinnati, dietary ketosis, so very carb-restricted diet for patients with mild cognitive impairment, and they did see a definitive improvement on memory and cognitive abilities on the ketogenic diet.